Welcome, everyone. Welcome to the Empowerment Embassy.
Yes.
I'm Dr. David Banks. It's a pleasure to have you, whether you're watching now or you're going to watch later. I pray that what we share with you today will truly impact your life forever. Do we have any kings in the building? Yeah. All right, so repeat after me. As a king.
As a king.
I'm breaking out of the norm.
I'm breaking out of the norm.
The next one. I will enter into the door to the uncommon.
I will enter into the door to the uncommon.
And the last one. I'm starting a kingdom revolution.
I'm starting a kingdom revolution.
All right, you may be seated. Thank you, everyone, for coming today and receiving what God has in store. We're doing this summer series, June to July, Kingdom Concepts, breaking out of the norm. Now, let's talk about that real quick. Why do you think that is so important? Breaking out of the norm. Why do you think that's so important?
So we can make a greater impact.
To make a greater impact. What else?
Because the norm is not working.
Norm is not working.
Too settled, you get stagnant, you get sticky.
All right, let me see if I can translate real quick. She said stagnant.
Get too settled.
Get too settled, and you stink.
Would it get bluntly?
Yes, sir.
Because the God we serve is not normal.
Excellent. I like that. I like that. So, breaking out of the norm. Now, is it easy?
No.
Sometimes? Because, my friend, we've gotten so accustomed to just stay in the norm. So sometimes we got to be reminded, my friend, we got to break out. We got to break out. Vujade, we talked about this before, is the ability to see a common thing in a what?
Uncommon way.
My friend, that's breaking out the norm, because you see all of the stories in the Bible. We know all of them. But my friend, write this down. Write this down somewhere. Don't get familiar with familiar stories in the Bible. Yeah, that just came right there. Don't get familiar with familiar stories in the Bible. Because that's what God wants to do, for you to see a common thing. Because, I mean, you know pretty much all the stories in the Bible. Pretty much the main ones. What are some main stories?
Shadrach, Meshach.
I mean, you're familiar with that one. Daniel's in the lion's den. Come on, what are some other ones?
Joseph and Egypt.
Joseph in Egypt. David and the giant.
Noah and the ark.
The Red Sea.
The Red Sea.
Feeding 5,000.
Feeding the 5,000.
Adam and Eve.
Esther.
Adam and Eve.
Adam and Eve.
Walking on water. Jesus.
Walking on water.
Isaac.
Turning water to wine.
Look at that. See, we all know them. But look at this. Don't get familiar with them. All right? Because normally when you get familiar with something and you hear it, your mind automatically what? Shuts off. And you say this. I've heard that. I know where that story's going. I know where he's going with that story. Don't do that. Don't do that. Don't get familiar with familiar stories. Because that's what Vujade is, to be able to see a common thing, a common story. Oh, because my friend, God can always pull a kingdom principle from a common story.
Yes.
And that's why you got to stay. So everything that we share, we'll continue to go back to these common stories, but I always want you to be open. What uncommon insight can I get from this common story? I like that. So my friend, we talked last week. Was it last week?
Yeah.
Did we talk about this last week? The door to the uncommon.
Yes.
The door to the uncommon. Either you're going to do this one You're going to be open to it, or you're not going to be open to it. Because, my friend, let me go ahead and give you some insight. The door to the uncommon is coming. All right?
Okay.
So I need you to get ready for it.
All right.
So I need you to already start getting in your mind the door to the uncommon is coming. And either you can do this side, you can have first, as long as you have an open access to the head country when the door comes, that's not going to catch you off surprise. You see what I'm saying? And then you're going to obey, you're going to observe, you're going to have an optimistic view. This is where John in Revelations 4. But my friend, don't do the other side. That's when God tried to take the children of Israel to an uncommon place. What happened? Fear of the unknown. They've never experienced that place, so they allow fear to stop them. Then they what? They frown upon it. Then they start making what? False statements. God, take it out here. God says, I want to take you to the promised land. Where did they get God wants to take us out here to die? Where did that come from? And then, all of a sudden, my friend, you'll start doing what? Flashbacks. I remember when. My friend, let's not go that route. Let's not go that route. So, all right, now look at this. And it's already happening. The door to the uncommon. This is not in your notes. This came at 5 this morning. Look what happened, my friend. There's a door to the uncommon in every field. Now, what did I say at the bottom? Either we recognize one or we create one. My friend. As you can see, Lady Nisi, she recognized one. And she's taking advantage of it. Lady Sharon, she recognized one.
That's it.
And she's taking, my friend, that's what's going to happen. Either you're going to recognize the door to the uncommon,
That's right. That's right.
or you're going to create one.
Yes.
July 1st, going and share kingdom health principles
Okay.
to the Plant Power Cafe and Juice Bar. And the food is good.
Yes.
The food is good.
It is.
They knew of Lady Nisi.
Yes.
Her name preceded us. They said, oh, yeah. Don't worry for her. Oh, no folks there. So, my friend, get yourself ready. Take a picture of it. Do whatever you need to do. Because, my friend, this is how we are proceeding in the future. We are going to either recognize a door to the uncommon, or we're going to create one. My friend, like we said last week, kings look for territory.
Yes.
My friend, we're not just coming here just to get a word. My friend, we're coming to get strategies to take this kingdom forward. All right, today's focus. Today's focus is enemies to the uncommon. Sometimes when you get, how many of you know, sometimes when you get out of your comfort zone, sometimes you get words from God. How many of you?
Oh, yeah.
When does that happen?
Yeah.
And sometimes that's what you have to do. Get outside of your comfort zone, and all of a sudden you freed up to access heaven. So Friday I took the day off. It's like, I'll just take the day off.
Okay.
And I played some golf. And I had a great time. It was nice. It was. Say what?
You didn't invite him.
Yeah, I just decided, hey, let me just invite Dr. Banks.
Me, myself, and I.
Yeah, let me take it. And man, when I was out there hitting that ball, that came in my spirit. Enemies to the uncommon. It was nice. It was nice. I just got it. So my friend, look at this scripture. Look at this. Matthew 23:13. Matthew 23:13 says, "But woe to you, scribes and Pharisees, hypocrites, for you shut the kingdom of heaven in people's faces. For you neither yourselves nor allow those who would enter to go in." Matthew 23:13. Enemies to the uncommon. That's what we're going to talk about today. Now look at this. The kingdom is the realm into the uncommon. The kingdom is the realm into the uncommon. And my friend, that's one thing that the enemy does not ever want you to enter. He doesn't ever want you to get into this dimension of the uncommon. Now, I'll explain why. The enemy never wants you to get into this realm, to the uncommon. So let's look at this. Let's look at some insights. There will always be some type of hindrances preventing you from the uncommon.
Yes.
How many of y'all agree with that? There will always be some hindrances preventing you from stepping into the uncommon. And we're going to teach you how to deal with those instead of being afraid of them. All right, look at this one. An enemy can bring out things in you that a friend never could.
Amen.
Do y'all hear me? An enemy. My friend, when God gave that to me, I started thinking Goliath with David. He had an enemy and he had a friend. Who was his friend? Jonathan. My friend, there were some things that Goliath pulled out of David that Jonathan never could. My friend, look at that. Jonathan was encouraging to him, stood by him, but only Goliath brought something out of him that Jonathan never could. Y'all hear me?
Yes.
So I got to get you accustomed to enemies. Because we are accustomed to what? Be afraid of them. No, you can't be afraid of an enemy, my friend, because they will bring stuff out of you that a friend never could. Oh, I like this one. This is good one right here. Look at this. Enemies are revealed at the borderline between the common and the uncommon. My friend, when you are facing an enemy, that's a good thing because you on the border. That's where enemies hang out. As long as you are comfortable in your comfort zone, guess what? Enemies don't rise up. But soon as you get ready to step outside of your comfort zone, guess what you're getting ready to meet? An enemy. So that should let you know where enemies hang out. Enemies hang out only at the border. So my friend, if you're not dealing with any enemies, it's a guarantee you're not going anywhere. Because if enemies knows that you're comfortable where you're at, it's no threat. You'll never see them. Only enemies rise up when they know you're getting ready to step where? Outside of your comfort zone. Are y'all listening to me?
Yes.
I like that. Enemies are revealed. Man, that's a quote. I like that. You can quote that. You can quote that. I like that. Let's see the last one. Look here. I like this one too. The enemy knows that beyond the uncommon is dominion. I like that. And Pastor Dwight, I think I was on the sixth hole on that. He tried to tee off, and all of a sudden he said, "Hey!" The enemy knows that beyond the uncommon is dominion. It's like, I told Dwight, I said to people behind me, "Oh, y'all gotta wait. Y'all gotta hold up." They were looking at me, we're sitting in the car. Y'all can look all you want. I'm gonna get this.
Did you have to write it down?
Yeah, I had to type it in. Now look here. Check this out. That's the common. Everybody say that's the common. After It's the uncommon. But friend, right after that, that's where dominion comes. That's why the enemy never wants you to step into the uncommon, because he knows once you get into that one, he only knows by the time you hit the other dimension, that is what? Dominion. By the time you hit the uncommon, after that, you're taking over. You see it right here in Lady Niece. She done stepped into the uncommon. Well, she only got one more stage, and she's taking the whole company over. My friend, that's how you got to think. That's why stop being afraid of the uncommon. Stop being afraid of it. But where do enemies lie? What did you just learn? Where do enemies lie? On the border of what? Common and uncommon. So, we're going to talk about the enemies. Now, the Lord shared 4. Maybe Ambassador Dwight, if I would have did 18 holes, I would have did 9. If I did 18, I would have got some more enemies. By the time I got to the 9th hole, he only gave me 4. So, maybe I'll go play this weekend.
Get the rest of the series.
But look at this scripture, Deuteronomy chapter 7, verse 1. It says, when the Lord your God brings you into the land that you're entering to take possession of it, I'm going to do what? I'm going to clear away many nations before you, the Hittites, Gergesites, Amorites, Canaanites, Pezerites, Hivites, Jebusites, 7 nations more numerous and what? Mightier than you.
Yes.
The Lord your God gives them over to you, and you defeat them. You must not devote them to complete destruction. You shall make no covenant with them and show no mercy to them. Oh my goodness. But where were the giants
In the land.
that they were taking possession over? So here they were getting ready to step into the uncommon. But what is the first thing had to be taken care of? I gotta take care of what? I gotta take care of your enemy. You know what I say? Before you step into the uncommon, you gotta deal with the enemies.
Yes.
So let me share with you 4 enemies to the uncommon. The Lord revealed there are 4 enemies that's going to try to stop you from entering into the uncommon. So I want you to, I mean, you think this is going to be helpful for you? I mean, it's going to be helpful for you. Like Sharon said, I know it is. All right, my friend, here we go. Here we go. The first one, the first enemy is called penetrating thoughts. This is one of the enemies you are going to have to address before you step over into the uncommon. Your mind. Your mind. Now, none of these enemies is Satan.
Okay, get that one. Can't blame the devil, can't blame him.
Just to go ahead and give you forewarned knowledge of all the other slides, none of these enemies is the devil.
Help.
None of them is the enemy. None of them is the enemy.
Just listen, folks, up
So you can be rest assured. I'm just going to already let you know. None of them is Satan. All right? We already got that taken care of. Now, let's go back to this one. Penetrating thoughts. My friend, that's normally the first enemy that you're going to have to address. Now, check this out. The first thing that this enemy does is try to put a seed in your mind. Try to put a seed in your mind. This is the first enemy you're going to have to address. Now, seed. Now, we all know that seed stands for substance embedded, executing dominion. But there is another one called the seed of doubt. And this is the one you're going to have to deal with. The first thing, when an idea of the uncommon comes to you, the first thing your mind is going to do is going to get what? Suspicious. Your mind is going to get suspicious, and your mind is going to say, I've never heard that before. Now this is different. Come on, y'all. Am I teaching?
Yes.
Your mind says, you've never written a book before, and all of a sudden you get an idea about writing a book. That seed of what? That first suspicion is, wait a minute. Now, what was your grades in English when you went to school? Those papers you wrote in school, what? Did you get straight A's on all of them? Is this true, my friend?
So true.
Suspicious. Your mind starts thinking, I don't know about this. Does it happen?
Yeah.
Talk to me. Does it happen?
Yes.
So that's the first thing that's going to happen. Your mind is going to get suspicious and think, you've never done this before. This is unfamiliar. This is new territory. Next thing that's going to happen is going to start plaguing you. How you going to do it?
Okay.
How you going to do what you say you're going to do? Give me some evidence. Now, how much evidence do you have? None. But your mind is going to be plaguing you. How you going to do this? Give me some evidence how you going to do it. You say you're going to write a book? How you going to do it? And see, if you're not careful, you're going to let this seed get planted inside of you. The next thing that happens is you start what?
Making excuses.
Trying to give some excuses of why it can't happen. Oh man, I don't see how this can happen. And see, once that comes, guess what D stands for? You disregard it and shoot it. Now, let's go ahead and testify. Let's do a quick support group right now. How many of y'all have let the seed happen in your mind? Come on, y'all.
My name is Sharon.
Let's bring the coffee out. How many of you have let this happen?
Yes. Guilty.
That's the first enemy you got to take care of. Does it happen?
Yes.
That's the first thing you got to get a handle on. So, how do you deal with it? 2 Corinthians 10:5 says what? Casting down imaginations and every high thing that is exalted against the knowledge of God, and bringing every thought into what? Captivity to the obedience of Christ.
Yes.
So my friend, you got to stop letting that seed take root. And if it has, you better learn how to uproot it. This is your first enemy, penetrating thoughts. Anytime when either you recognize an opportunity or you create one, this is the first enemy you got to address. Is that mind? And you just got to realize, nope, I do not walk by sight. I walk by faith. Because this seed is trying to say, if you can, it tries to prevent you from stepping in, because it doesn't want you to step into that uncommon. But this is the first one that so how many of you are going to refuse to continue to allow this enemy to stop you? Everybody on Facebook good? Glory to God. All right, so that's the first enemy. We're going to take care of this one.
Yes.
All right, let's look at the next one. The next enemy is people's opinion. Here's another giant that you're going to have to address. First is your mind, coming against your mind. Controlling it. Stop letting those seeds, that seed be planted inside of your mind. But here's another giant enemy. And it is an enemy that you're going to have to address. People's opinions. Now let's break this one down. Let's see how this will work. First of all, you're going to end up saying this. What will people say? How many of y'all have done that one? What did you say?
I said, that's one of the favorite things that comes to my mind first thought.
First thought.
What people will say.
So let's play with this one. What happens when you think like that? What do you think people will say?
Who does she think? Why should you care what people say? That's the.
Well, let's do the first one. We'll get to why you shouldn't care, but let's get to what are you thinking? What would people say?
Oh, they done lost their mind.
They done lost their mind.
They don't want you to think about that.
Good job.
Why would you leave a good job?
Yep.
All those benefits. Why would you leave a good job? What else? What will people say?
Not just a good job, but a good paying
It
job.
ain't gonna work. They may say a whole bunch of stuff. Just try to discourage you.
She can see all that.
Yeah.
All right. So what will people say? Now, here's another thing. People will try to put a label on you. So they something like that. I just don't see you doing that.
Yeah.
You know, I just don't see you doing that.
Oh, another thing they say, you know, you didn't used to, they try to put you back into something you used to be.
Flashback.
Flashback.
That's right. That's right. Hey, but in the past, you weren't this adventurous before.
Right.
So they try to put a label on you. Now, how about this? They try to convince you to stay calm.
Oh,
They say it like this. Now, if I were you, you know, I'd go ahead and stay on this job.
Stay in your lane.
People's opinion.
Yeah.
It's a giant, my friend. It's an enemy that you're going to have to learn how to deal with. You got to learn how to deal with it. Now, I love this. We know this. Nehemiah 6:3. This is Sanballat trying to discourage the brother. And he said, look, I sent a message to them saying what? I'm doing a great work and I cannot come down. Why should the work stop while I leave it and come down to you? And look here. And they sent to me, how many times? 4 times in this way. And I did what?
Amen.
My friend,
That's what you gotta do.
you better stay consistent.
Yeah, come on, doing a great work. Okay, with y'all.
You better stay consistent because when you are inconsistent, that's when you let the enemy get some room.
Yes.
Same thing when the enemy came to Jesus in of his 40. Every time he kept saying what? It is written.
That's right.
He stayed consistent, my friend. He stayed consistent. Now, be cordial, but stay consistent. Do you hear me? Just stay consistent. Okay, I know you say if I were you, but I'm not you. I'm not you.
Yeah.
But you gotta stay consistent. Because if you don't, my friend, it's not gonna be So my friend, you got to deal with this one. People's opinion of you. All right? Here's another enemy. It's perception. This is another enemy. It's called perception. How or will you be perceived doing this? Now let's go back to the things that we've been learning. Because I know, now this is why it's important. Write this down. That's why it's important to stay in the realm of the uncommon. Therefore, people can never put you or keep you in a box. That's why it's important to stay in the realm of the uncommon. Now, people may try to put you, but my friend, they can't keep you. I know when I started in this city as a counselor. When I came to this city in 1990. So for the first 10 to 15 years, I was a counselor. Dr. David Banks, the counselor, the marriage counselor. Well, when God said, I want you to step into the uncommon, and I want you to plant a ministry. Well, when I came out as Pastor Banks, people were like,
Right. That's right.
You know him
that's
as the
Dr.
counselor.
Banks? Isn't that the counselor?
I'm guilty.
You know he don't marriage, but.
Yeah, wait a minute. That don't look like it fit in the. So my friend, we all know the first one, observation. Most people want to keep you as they have labeled you. Most people want to keep you in that. But my friend, that's why it's important to always stay open to the uncommon. So some people will always keep you what they know you as.
Yes.
I mean, y'all know that.
Win.
Some people will always keep you as what they know you as. So you got the observation, what most people know. Oh, you're this. Oh, that's Dr. Sharon? Oh, man, she is with partnership.
That's all I'm saying.
That's all they know. You understand?
Right.
So my friend, that's some people want to keep you in that. But then you step into this one, focus. Very few people can be open to see you this way. Very few people can move into this one. But my friend, you better find a good core group
Yes.
that can help see where God is taking you.
Yes.
But my friend, sometimes when you hit the uncommon, at first it may be only you in heaven can see it.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Also, the enemy of perception can be yourself, also how you perceive yourself,
Good word. Good word.
which will cause you to not move forward
Oh,
because
yeah.
of what the other folks.
Now, as Ambassador Carlos said he's guilty. Guess what? I'm guilty. When God said, I need you to plant a church, I'm sorry, I could not see myself as Pastor David Banks. I could not. I was accustomed in an office, a chair, and a couch. I'm sitting in the chair, clients in the couch. That's all I could see myself as.
Yes.
But when God says, I need you to move to dimension 4,
Yes.
but first, I didn't see it.
Yes.
I could not see it. Now, my bride is over there speaking silently. She can see it. So that's why you got to get people in your life
That's right.
that can maybe see something in you that you can't even see yourself.
Yes.
Yes, Lord.
Yes.
That you can't. That's why having good people in your life.
Yes.
That's why the older you get, you should get more and more selective.
That's right.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Come on, somebody.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Now, I know when you're young, you just, I want everybody to love me. I want everybody to be my friend. But the older you get more and more. How many of you know that?
Amen. Yes.
So, because see, if they can label you, they can control you.
That's right.
Ooh.
They
Write
keep
that down.
you in that label, my friend. Because if they keep telling you, I just don't see you doing that, and you pay attention to that, and then you what? Don't do it.
Right.
But who just control who? They just control you.
Yes.
So my friend, be careful with perception. And just like Ambassador said, you let God keep his perception of you.
Yes.
Because it's forever growing.
Yes.
It's forever growing. So don't just, well, I just see myself like this. My friend, no. What's the guy in the cave? Who's in the cave? And God says, mighty man of valor. Who was that?
Elijah. That was Gideon was not in the cave though, but he did say mighty man of valor.
Yeah, where was Gideon when God told him?
Behind the wine
He was hiding.
Yes.
And God came on the scene and said, what? You're a mighty man of valor. But Gideon didn't see himself like that.
Right.
Let's throw that fleece out.
Okay, throw that fleece out. Show me who you is. You be this.
And so, do you see that? How about Moses?
Yeah.
Same situation.
I can't talk.
You see this? Look at Mary.
Yeah. After this.
All of these people had held themselves hostage of how they viewed themselves.
Yes.
Now, isn't it interesting when you become hostage to your own perception, you're always looking at what you can't do.
Yes. Yes.
Because all of these people thought they couldn't be what God saw.
Yes.
Help us.
Isn't that right?
Yes.
When God revealed, Moses, this is what I see of you. Moses needed to say, what? I can't do that.
Get somebody else.
Right.
See, my friend, when you hide behind your own insecurities and your inabilities, my friend, you hold yourself hostage.
Yes.
Help us.
And God's like, I don't see you through your insecurities.
Yes. Yes.
I see you through the eyes of how I designed you.
Yes.
That's a good word.
Yes, it is.
Stop hiding and seeing yourself only through your insecurities of what you can't do. That's not how God sees you.
Yes.
Because Mary, she immediately, observation. What did she say? How can this be?
That's right.
How can this be?
Yes.
You looking at your ability. You're not looking at his ability.
Yes. Hallelujah. Yes.
So my friend, that's why you better stop looking at yourself through your own insecurities.
Help us. Help us.
That's right.
Stop saying what you can't do.
Yes.
I can't do this. Oh, I can't write a book. Oh, I can't start a business. My friend, you're holding yourself hostage and you are basically tying God's hands.
You're teaching.
My friend, let's free ourselves up and let's free God up. That's what he needs to do in our lives.
Amen.
Glory to God. So my friend, let's get this perception. Let's break away from this enemy of of this doubt, insecurity, perception of ourselves.
Yes.
Because see, we look at ourselves this way,
Right.
where we came from. That's not how God looks at us.
Right.
God looks at us where he destined us to be. Y'all see that?
Amen.
Hallelujah.
That's why when you're dealing with God, he's looking this way and we looking this way. My friend, you're never going to see what God sees looking in the wrong direction.
That's right.
So,
Glory to God.
Yes.
So my friend, let's get this one taken care of. Now, look at this one. Here is an enemy called what? Problems with implementation. This enemy, Ambassador Wayne, came the day we had our first service here. Y'all didn't know it. Y'all didn't know it. But an enemy, the white and Dolores, an enemy. The first service, 6 a.m. The first service, Lady Nisi called, the secretary called and said, oh, by the way, the pipe burst. Water was all running down on the first Sunday that we were here. Problems with what? Implementation. We done signed the lease. We done pulled up the carpet. We done put the lights in.
move the boxes in.
We done moved everything in.
Projector, the screen, yeah.
Woo.
One more enemy had to show up. We took care of the first one. We took care of the first enemy. What's the first enemy? Penetrating what? We took care of that one. What's that second enemy? People's opinion. Y'all were still in East Ridge. We had to get that one taken care of. What's that third one? Perception. We took care of all of them, but we had to deal with this one. You're going to have to deal with it too. Problems with implementation. Look at this one. This is how this is manifested. First one,
Yes.
here you are. You done wrote the book. You done got it edited. And then the formatting to upload it. It started getting crazy on you then.
They'll start shifting.
Distractions. Right where?
Right as time.
Right when you are ready to implement it.
That's right.
Then you what? Get distractions come. Do y'all hear this? All distractions start coming. The money that you had to pay for your book, the tire goes out. How many of y'all know the money that you had saved to get your first order? Yeah, all of a sudden something crazy goes off somewhere else, and now you gotta what? Gotta make that good old transaction. Transfer.
Yeah.
Gotta make that
Emergency phone.
So distractions. Here's another one.
Delays. Yeah.
Deadline, you say, all right? July 1st, I'm gonna launch it. And the week of, something pops off. And you gotta move the deadline. I mean, you know what I'm talking about.
Yes.
Move the deadline. My friend, this is giant. See, this giant here, normally it's always pretty much the last one, because This one realized you got through the first three.
Waiting on
So this one here is the last one. Because this, see, the other ones you haven't even started on. This one right here, you're almost finished with it. You can see it. That's when this one tries to show up.
See the finish line.
And then you what? You got to deal with some disappointments. Wow, I thought it was going to come out like this. I thought it was going to work out like this. Now this one right here, my friend, the biggest thing that it's trying to do is to discourage you.
Yeah, it is.
Because look how close you are.
Yes.
Look how close you are.
Yes.
And it's the little things that start happening. And before you know it, if you're not careful, you let this one take over. And here it is, you're right there.
Yes.
And you just think, ah. And then sometimes we like to get spiritual. Well, maybe it wasn't God.
Meant to be.
Why would God let you get this close?
Yeah.
Why would God let you get this close?
Turn back.
My friend, if you don't know that this is a giant, you may give into it. And here you are, you got the rough draft, and you set it aside. Be careful with this one. Be careful with this one. Because we're so close to it. And that's why, my friend, I like this verse, Proverbs 5:25-27. Let your eyes look where? Directly before you. Keep your eyes on the goal. And gaze your gaze straight where? Before you. Ponder the path of your feet, and all your ways will be sure. Look here. Do not swerve to the what? Right or to the left. Don't turn your foot away from evil. Because see, whatever you see, whatever you focus on, your foot will move towards it. Y'all hear that? Wherever you start focusing, your foot will start moving in that direction. So you start getting distracted, you start looking over here, all of a sudden your feet start moving that way. That's why this verse says what? Keep looking forward. Do not swerve to the right or to the left. Turn your foot away from evil. Turn your foot away from evil. So my friend, these are the first 4 enemies. All right, we got a few minutes. Let's talk. Out of these enemies, which one would say really bothers you or gets you the most?
Thoughts. Mine is thoughts.
Yours, penetrating thoughts. Okay, yours, Ambassador?
Probably implementation.
Problems with implementation. All right, anybody?
Penetrating thoughts.
Penetrating thoughts.
For me, it's people's opinion and then perception.
People's opinions and perceptions.
That's the same with me.
That's yours. All right. Anybody else? Which one? Which enemy?
Problems with implementation.
Problems with implementation. Interesting. Yes.
Problems.
Problems with implementation. I think for me, I think penetrating thoughts.
Thoughts is mine.
Penetrating thoughts. Man,
I know it. I can handle all the other stuff.
I've gotten delivered from people's opinions now.
Right, yeah.
Years ago,
Yeah.
that was a big enemy. That was a big enemy. But now I'm realizing, no, don't really deal with that, with those thoughts. How about you, Ambassador Wayne?
Oh, mine is perception.
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 How you see yourself, how other, which way?
Eyes.
How you see. Lady Laura? Oh, you shared yours. Anybody else?
1 and 4.
1 and 4. Penetrating thoughts and problem with implementation. Excellent, excellent. All right, my friend. You know these enemies now. You know how they work, and you know how you need to deal with them. Hey, y'all, I ain't got to go back through this thing.
What are you doing? Oh, stand on the scripture, okay. I'm like, I thought it was something I missed.
Look for some deep, burning bush.
You just
Burning bush.
Keep it simple, Niecy.
That's right. So, my friend, all right, y'all talk back to me. How do you deal with penetrating thoughts?
Casting down imagination.
I need some practical stuff. Call somebody.
You said call somebody. Call a friend, right?
Here I am trying to present the word. I was like, give us more practice. All right, penetrating thoughts. All right, one of the key things in penetrating thoughts, understand how the seed is working. But then the importance of writing things down. The importance of writing things down. Understand how those seed is working. But writing things down, that is a powerful principle. Because as long as you keep the idea in your mind, that seed is going to try to come in and choke it.
Yeah. So you're saying like goals. I mean, because I write goals all the time. So, and I go back to them to try to remember, I guess, when the penetrating thoughts come in my mind. But just consistently trying to keep them at bay, I guess, is where you have to go back to the word. And I mean, because I write down stuff all the time, but I still think about stuff.
That's right. And, like we said, when the Lord put in my heart, David, I need you to plant a ministry. Well, I couldn't just think about that. I had to write it down. The Lord said he wants me to plant a ministry. So I had to write it down because that's uncommon. So, writing it down, but then understanding, God, I'm going to have to learn how to walk it out.
I just looked at what you gave us about the seed of doubt, and now I know for sure confirmations.
Confirmation.
When I've been asking him for confirmation on
Get in.
things, that's helped me with that penetrating thought, where all those things I was doubtful about, fearful about, all of a sudden he'll give me a confirmation of let me know I got this.
Hey, very nice, very nice. Yes, ma'am?
I found out, like, when God tell me to do something, that I, say for instance, fix something in the house, or it could be anything. It might, even though I have the reserve about it, or try to back down, I just push myself, initiate it, and then when you initiate, what I found out, when you initiate something uncommon, God will bring in the resources.
That's right.
But if you draw back, I found out when I draw back in fear, that's the last one that comes about, disappointments.
That's right, that's right. Yes.
I was just thinking about, to go back to the past successes that God has given you in the past, and bring that up when that.
Good point, good point.
Say, well, he did it then.
Have mercy.
Why can't he do it now?
Hey, glory to God.
To the Lord.
That's right.
Remember when?
Yes.
Okay, so me and Niecy up here laughing, but accountability. That is why, like, I will call Sharday and say, hey, this is what I was thinking, and Laura and their analytical self, and they will help me with questions or thoughts and things for me to think about that. God is like, no, this is the idea that I've given you. You don't have all the answers.
That's right.
But, talk to,
Got resources.
yeah, talk to the people around you that will ask you
Yes.
questions. Oh, yeah, okay, that makes sense, that makes
Very
sense.
good.
So, I am doubting a friend.
Hey, you dial a friend. You dial a friend. Good,
Like Carlos
good, good.
said, getting around wise counsel. I
That's right.
mean, I always bounce stuff off people, period. When God puts something uncommon in your mind, just to be around that selective group of people that you know that are speak into your life, even if it sounds crazy, they're gonna sit down because they're crazy. Most of your core is crazy too. They are. I've been finding it out. I mean, for a long time, they are doing the uncommon. So when you bring something uncommon to them, they begin to strategize. So being able to put yourself around other people when those penetrating thoughts come and say, okay, girl, just expel that and let's get back to the plan. What do we need to do next?
Excellent. Yes, sir.
And then don't just call somebody that you know that's going to agree with you.
Yeah.
See, that
You
one.
know, call that person that you know is going to be a stickler. You really don't want to call them, but if you really want truth, call that person that you know they fit to probably shoot it down or tear it up, shoot it up, or whatever the case may be. But you know, because a lot of us want to call people that we know going to agree with me, make us feel good, but it hasn't helped us.
That's true. Good point. Good point. Good point. So,
I hope somebody looking at that on Facebook.
that's your friend.
Sunday service. You heard it at church.
That's right. All right. People's opinion.
Ooh, yeah.
All right. I'm turning it back. I'm turning it back.
Okay.
What are some practical things dealing with people's opinions?
I would always say knowing your own identity. You got to know who you are, regardless of, because you ain't gonna be friends with everybody, and everybody ain't gonna have a great opinion of you. Sometimes they could be jealous.
That's true.
You know, they could be like, oh, I could do with that. That ain't nothing. You know, so just knowing your own identity and self-worth, I believe, will help you with other people's opinions.
And also, with this one, just be selective who you talk to.
Right. Yeah. That too.
Just be selective, because you know, all right, God has just given me an uncommon instructions. I just know, I just can't tell. And see, look at Mary. Mary, she realized, I know who to go talk to.
Come on.
Let me go to Elizabeth,
Yeah.
because she's dealing with the same uncommon situation.
Right. Right.
So you got to know who to go talk to. Because Elizabeth said, that's crazy. No, Elizabeth's like, honey, you know, I'm pregnant too. And I'm in my old age, so this is uncommon for both of us. Then they start singing. That's right. So dealing with people's opinion. Now, how many of you know when word gets out about what you're going to do?
Oh, yeah.
And when people come tell you, my friend, first of all, stop trying to defend.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Just don't. See, that's going to wear you out.
Yeah.
Trying to defend what you're doing. Just don't get caught up in that. All right?
Yeah.
Just be not, like I said.
He good.
And just be about the Father's business.
Yes.
Because trying to defend yourself is only going to drain you out. And you don't need to try to explain it to them when you already pick it up in your spirit. This is a hater I'm talking to.
Yes.
Why do I need to defend to talking to you? Because everything I say, you're going to ask the question. Well, why are you doing it this way? Well, I'm trying to. Well, why? See, you're going to get drained. Just.
That was good what you said about Nehemiah. Just be consistent. Get you an affirmation, and every time somebody say something crazy, just say it back.
That's right. That's it.
Yeah.
That's it.
I think for me, when it comes to people's opinions, it's more so when I am putting myself out there to do something, unfamiliar thing or an unfamiliar situation, or if I'm, called to be someplace that I'm not familiar with people who aren't familiar with me. And so I think, like, what are people going to say? I have these, people, they're staring at my implants, and I'm okay, and I see them staring. So I've learned to say, just tell them this is what it is. That's why I have it decorated. And but then I've also come to learn. I read a saying somewhere that I have to tell myself every time I'm going to someplace unfamiliar or set to do something is that I belong in every room I set my foot in.
Right.
I belong there.
Affirmation.
Hey.
It's an affirmation.
Yeah.
Now.
Yeah.
It is good to get affirmation from others, but you better learn how to create affirmations for yourself.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because with Noah, who could he get affirmation from? Who could he get affirmation from? He can go to anybody and say, this is what God has told me to do. You see what I'm saying? So, yes, affirmation is important, but my friend, the only affirmation you need is what God told you.
Right.
Because if God told you something and you're saying, well, let me wait till I get horizontal affirmation, you could be delaying the process.
Right.
You could be delaying the process. Yes, Lady Dolores.
I think it all goes back to the, like when we were having a discussion about Elijah and the woman, the things that they had to go through, and all of it comes back to all the things that we have to do is we have to have the belief, the faith,
Yes.
and be obedient.
Yes.
Because if he gave it to you, you know, that's it. You gotta believe in that and be obedient to what he said,
Right.
regardless of what else is going around you.
So right, so right. Yes, I truly believe in horizontal affirmation because you trying to check that you're not crazy. You know, I'm just trying to, what do you say? Let me bounce it off of you. Just to make sure.
Yeah.
But my friend, I'm telling you, the deeper you get into the uncommon, there may be some things, who you gonna bounce it off of?
Yeah.
Huh?
I think for me, the greatest affirmation comes when I'm not seeking, like I'm thinking about something and I haven't told anybody, and then somebody comes along and I know I haven't shared it. And so for me, the greatest confirmation is those that I'm not seeking, but God may send it.
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
Glory to Jesus. Glory to Jesus. All right.
Wait.
Yes, Ambassador.
And sometimes you gotta get a different perception or perspective of the opinions that you hear. To me, if I hear an opinion and it don't sound right, to me that gives me strength because now I know, okay, I at least got to have two or three scriptures to back up why I can. So your opinion said, okay, I can't do this, but if what I'm believing God to do or I'm stepping in the uncommon, if I got 2 or 3 scriptures to back up what I'm doing, I'm good.
Hey, hallelujah. Glory to God. All right, perception. I think what Lady Nisi said, that's why you have to know your identity. You gotta know your original design. When you know who you are and who you belong to and what you represent, my friend, you can be open to the uncommon.
Yes.
Huh?
Yes.
Yes.
But when you sit thinking that you are just a wretch,
Right. Undone. Undone.
I'm done.
What is a wretch? What is it, a wretch? What is that? It's just
Just no good. When you see yourself like that, my friend, I'm telling you, the uncommon will not be common to you.
That's right.
Because you're going to always battle. I just don't see myself doing that.
Yes.
I just don't see myself doing that. Why? Because I've never done something. See where you going?
Down the path.
I just can't see myself owning my own business. I just can't see myself writing a book. But you gotta realize, wait a minute, I am designed
Yes.
in God's image.
That's right. Right. Right.
So the sky's the limit.
That's right.
The sky's the limit. I'm designed in his image and in his likeness.
Right.
So when you broaden your perspective of who you are, when God gives you an uncommon, then it's possible.
That's right.
Huh?
That's right. Yes.
But as long as you have a narrow, very narrow perception, everything seems impossible.
That's right. That's right.
And since we are afraid of what's impossible, we never even stretch to do it. But when you can take this narrow and broaden it, and think, God, whatever you play, and that's why and how does that happen? Faith. Because Mary said, because the angel tried to explain it to her 2 times. So the second time, she just said, what? Be it unto me. Because I just can't see how this works. So next thing I need to do is trust it.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
Yes.
Be it unto me. My friend, that's what you got to get to. Be it unto me,
Yes.
as you have said. If you are a messenger from God, and you're telling me I am to deliver Christ into the earth,
Yes.
I'll just have to accept it.
That's it.
Put the pressure back on God.
Just turn to people. Because my friend, that's the only way that you're going to be able to stretch your perception of yourself. You just got to trust God. Because we will try to analyze that thing to death. And I just don't see how. My friend, when you get stuck in the details with it, you wait to see something before you believe it.
Believe it, that's right, and that's not faith.
It ain't gonna work. You're going against the laws of the kingdom.
That's right.
See? The last one, problems with implementation. All right? Problems with implementation. Give me some ideas. When how you deal when you got everything set and then little snafus start happening.
Try not to get discouraged, because those things, when you think about distractions, deadlines, being delayed, and disappointments, you'll just give up.
That's right.
So you gotta encourage yourself and go back to kind of what Sister Dolores talked about. Remember when. If God did it then, He can do it now, no matter if those things even happen. Don't, like if He told you to do it, just expect those things. Something's gonna go wrong. I ain't saying just be pessimistic, but be expecting if those things happen, it's not gonna stop me from moving forward. We gotta learn to get around distractions, get under them, get over them, crush them, and keep moving forward.
That's right.
I'm feeling guilty.
You feeling guilty?
So this is one of my areas of growth, to remind myself that there are people waiting for my solution.
That's a good word. Good word right there. That's a good word.
You wrote that down?
That's a good word.
What'd you say?
There are people waiting on solutions.
Speed her up. She keep talking. I am
This is distraction.
to remind myself that people are waiting for my solution to problems.
Excellent. That's a good word.
That's good.
Yes, sir, Ambassador Wayne.
What was the scripture again?
For
implementation.
Proverbs 5:25. That was good.
yeah, just stay focused.
Yeah.
Yeah, when Wayne does that, he's trying to tell us, just
Go
do
back to
this.
that.
Yeah, that's why I put scriptures up there, Wayne.
Yeah.
No, I was, okay. I'm
It's on the sheet.
I know, but I'm looking at Proverbs 5:25 and I can't find it.
It's not 5:25?
I can't find it either.
Oh,
What is it?
we
don't know.
I don't know, that's why I brought it up, because we was about to go home and say amen.
So Proverbs, what is that?
You can look it up.
All right, yeah, somebody look it up.
It's not 5:25.
No.
What
gotta be a
is
little-
that the scripture that you're trying to say? But
Yeah.
not the right verse.
That says, that's what I do.
Now, the verse is right, the address evidently is not.
It's not 5?
Thank you, Ambassador.
4:25. 4.
There we go.
4:25.
Thank you, thank you, thank you.
What is it?
I try to
4,
stay so close.
25.
Okay.
But that copy and paste, it'll get you. So 4:25
Do
through
27.
27.
Yeah.
So I think this last one is preparation. Just have a sense of preparation already to think, okay, if this happens, how am I going to address it? If this happens, how am I going? And see, when you pre-plan, when you pre-prepare yourself, then when last minute things, snafu happens, that's not going to get the best of you because you've already kind of, because what is that scripture? Before you build a house, first you
Count the cost.
you look at the cost.
Yeah.
The SWOT analysis.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? So you just kind of look at what are some possible threats that could go wrong.
Right, that's really good.
So let me just go ahead and think through those and have some type of contingent plan
Yeah.
on it.
Plan A, plan B, plan C. I'm really good at
That would
that.
be Laura.
Because
But on
as
the
a
team.
teacher and you're working with equipment, you never know what's gonna happen.
That's
right.
So you have to have something in place or written so that when that equipment doesn't work, here's my plan A. Pass out that stuff, you know,
Right.
so they can get it.
Exactly.
And sometimes you have to have a plan C.
That's it.
You know, just have it ready.
That's right. Ambassador?
My biggest thing over all of this is your attitude. If you count everything that comes your way as yours, it works out.
That's
You know,
right.
it can't get the better of you. And every time you go through uncommon things, you learn something that's uncommon.
That's right. Good
So
work.
every time you get one project done, it builds you toward the next.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's
So
right.
you want, every time you see it, you go like, that's running.
That's right.
I've seen that one before.
I know.
That's right.
I served as a greeter earlier this morning, and y'all don't know it, but Laura has stuff out there, and I was thinking of all these things going through my head, what to do. You better get this sheet on seed, and you better fill that stuff out, and plan those strategies, and do what you're supposed to do. We have no excuse in this ministry. We
Thank you,
have been
Sharon.
given tools.
Yes.
Sitting out there to remind us.
That's right. That's right.
You know, I think some people will get super spiritual on you and say, well, when you plan for distractions, you know, that's, you know, you're
don't have faith.
questioning God, and that's not faith. And so, you know, there's a phrase that goes, you expect the best, but you can plan also for the worst. And so those super spiritual folks who think, well, you know, you speaking it, you thinking it is going to happen. I'm just ready if it does.
I just say that that's just being wise.
Yeah, to me, that's just,
Because the
yeah.
Bible says a man plans, I'm not getting it right, but it talks about already planning.
Many are the plans of a man's heart, but only the Lord's purpose will prevail.
See that right there.
I know the plans of heaven.
No.
We need more words.
What is it?
We need more words.
Need more words.
Charade.
But it, all right,
Can you name that
it sounds
scripture
like
in
it
two
says
words?
something to the mindset of you plan, a man foresees something, but he takes refuge. But a simple man keeps going and suffers for it.
Sounds like a proverb.
Yeah, it's a proverb, but it's like a wise man already is looking in the future. Oh, I see a possible situation.
What is that?
Proverbs 22:3. A prudent man foresees the evil and hides himself, but the simple pass on, and a wise man fears from evil, but a fool is careless of refuge.
That's another version. But that's what it says. A man foresees danger. Yeah, a man foresees danger and he takes refuge, but a simple man keeps going and he suffers for it.
I think it's Proverbs 22:3. Yeah.
Read that.
It says, a prudent man foresees the evil, hide himself, but the simple pass on and are punished.
Yeah, that's it. That's what she read. It's just a different version.
Different version. So that's just being a wise man. That's just being wise to just let me go ahead and see and go ahead and take refuge instead of just thinking everything's going to be all right
Yeah.
and then end up suffering from it. So my friend, you have the word and you have practical insight as well. Let's give the Lord a hand clap of praise. So my friend, God is calling us to the uncommon. So that's why I want you to start getting accustomed to it. But as you see from today, you are going to have to face enemies. But now you got wisdom of knowing how to face them. So Father, we do love you. We thank you for your wisdom. We thank you for helping us understand how to walk in this realm of the uncommon. Father, that's what you want. Why? Because we know when we get accustomed to the uncommon, we know there is another dimension of dominion. And that's what you have designed for us to be from the very beginning. So Father, help us to get uncomfortable with the common, to move us into the uncommon. Help us to think of ideas and accept ideas from you that's not common, so we can walk in, because one thing that I understand, uncommon things gets attention. When you do things that's uncommon, you get attention. We're not getting attention for ourselves. Father, we're getting attention to show your glory. That's what I said. Come on, somebody. Come on, somebody. Hey! Sometime, almost all the time, you want us to do something uncommon because that gets attention. And Father, when it draws attention, we're not putting the attention to ourselves, but we're saying, we're doing this for the glory of God.
Yes, Lord.
Father, we want to show you. But Father, as long as we stay common, we'll never show that light and that attention of what you really are and what you can do in the earth realm. So Father, we're honored to be representatives in the earth realm. Continue to let your will be done on earth as it is in heaven. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen.
Glory to God.